It was Tuesday at 3:14 a.m., and the only light in the room came from the computer monitor. It was a cold, artificial blue that washed over Alex's face, highlighting the dark circles under his eyes and the pale, unhealthy tint of his skin. The match had just ended, and the words "defeat" flashed in aggressive red letters across the screen. But Alex wasn't looking at the score. He was looking at his own reflection in the dark glass of the monitor. He saw a stranger staring back at him, a 17-year-old boy with greasy hair that hadn't seen a shower in 3 days, wearing a stained hoodie, surrounded by a graveyard of empty soda cans and a half-eaten slice of pepperoni pizza sitting on a stack of textbooks he hadn't opened in months. He felt a familiar hollowness in his chest. It wasn't just the exhaustion of a 14-hour gaming binge. It was something deeper. He was a ghost in his own life. At Northwood High, he was invisible, the kid who sat in the back with his headphones on, hoodie up, watching the world go by through a pane of glass. His grades had plummeted to D's and F's. His chemistry teacher, Mr. Henderson, had stopped asking for his homework weeks ago, and that silence hurt more than the scolding ever did. It meant they had given up on him. Alex clicked play again. It was easier to fight dragons in a digital world than to face the monsters in the real one. But the real world was coming for him, and it was going to hit hard. The nightmare began on a rainy Thursday in November. Alex came home from school, threw his bag on the floor, and marched straight to his sanctuary, his PC. He didn't even say hello to the empty house. "Alex?" His mom's voice called from the kitchen. It sounded thin, fragile. He paused, one hand on his headset, annoyed. "Yeah?" he grunted. "Can you come here, please?" He sighed, a heavy, dramatic exhale of a teenager inconvenienced by existence. He paused his game and walked to the kitchen, ready to argue about taking out the trash. But there was no argument waiting for him. His mother, Sarah, was sitting at the small, chipped kitchen table. Her head was buried in her hands, her shoulders shaking violently. Spread out before her were papers, electricity bills, water bills, the mortgage statement, and a stark letter from the bank with the words "Final Notice" stamped in red. Sarah looked up, and Alex felt his stomach drop. Her eyes were red and swollen. She looked so old in that moment, not like his mom, but like a defeated woman crushed by the weight of the world. "I don't know what to do, Alex," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I'm working 60 hours a week. I pick up every extra shift at the hospital, but I can't keep the house." She broke down into deep, gut-wrenching sobs. Alex stood there, frozen. For 17 years, he thought money just appeared. He thought electricity was magic. He thought food just manifested in the fridge. He looked at his own hands, soft, uncalloused gamer hands that had never done a day of hard labor. Then he looked at her, the woman who had sacrificed her dreams, her sleep, and her health for him. The realization hit him like a physical punch. I am a parasite. He retreated to his room, but he didn't play. He sat on the edge of his bed in the dark, listening to his mother cry through the thin walls. Every sob was a knife. That night, sleep never came. The next morning, the alarm went off at 5 a.m. Usually, Alex would smash the snooze button until 7:45 a.m. and rush to the bus with a piece of toast in his mouth. Not today. He dragged his body out of bed. It felt like moving through wet concrete. His brain screamed for more sleep, begging him to go back to the warmth. This was the battle of the bed, the first fight of every day. If you lose this, you lose the day. Alex forced himself to stand. He walked to the bathroom and turned the shower handle all the way to cold. The freezing water hit his skin like a shockwave. He gasped, his heart racing, his breath catching in his throat. It was brutal, but it was necessary. He needed to shock his system awake. He needed to freeze the old lazy Alex out of existence. Shivering and awake, he put on a pair of dusty Nike running shoes he usually only wore for gym class and stepped outside. The air was crisp, the streetlights still humming in the pre-dawn gloom. He started to run. He didn't make it far, maybe 2 blocks, before his lungs felt like they were on fire. His legs turned to jelly, and he bent over, hands on his knees, coughing violently. Mr. Miller, an elderly neighbor walking his dog, looked at him with confusion. "You okay, son?" he asked. I'm fine," he wheezed. He wasn't fine. He was weak. But as he walked back to the house, sweat dripping down his face, he felt a tiny spark he hadn't felt in years. Pride. He went to his room, grabbed a black marker, and taped a piece of paper to his wall. He wrote 2 words: "Retire, Mom."
Motivation gets you started, but habit keeps you going. The first 2 weeks were hell on earth. His brain, addicted to the high-speed dopamine of video games and TikTok, went into withdrawal. He would sit at his desk, his hand twitching for the mouse, his mind begging for just one match. He uninstalled Steam. He deleted Instagram and TikTok. The silence in his head was deafening. Then came the social cost. His phone buzzed with a text from Tyler, his best friend. "Bro, where are you? Hop on, ranked match." Alex stared at the screen. "I can't, I'm busy," he replied. "Busy doing what? You're a loser, Alex. Get on," Tyler shot back. Alex realized then that Tyler was a crab in a bucket. When one crab tries to escape, the other's pulling back down. Alex blocked Tyler. He lost his gaming squad. He was alone. He knew he couldn't save the house working for minimum wage at a fast food joint. He needed leverage. He searched YouTube for high-income skills for teens. He scrolled past drop shipping and crypto until he landed on video editing. He watched content creators making millions, all desperate for good editors. He downloaded the free version of DaVinci Resolve on his lagging PC and began the grind. His routine became robotic. 5 a.m., wake up, cold shower. 5:30 a.m., bodyweight exercises in the garage until his muscles screamed. 7 a.m., school, where he sat in the front row, actually listening, shocking his teachers. 3 p.m., home, homework done immediately. 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., learning to edit. No parties, no girls, no games. He entered monk mode. 3 months passed. Alex had sent 500 emails to YouTubers, real estate agents, and local businesses. "Hi, I'm Alex. I can edit your videos to increase retention." The results were crushing. 490 ignored emails, 9 rejections, and 1 person who simply replied, "Stop emailing me." He was exhausted. His mom was still stressed, the dark circles under her eyes deepening. The pile of bills on the table was growing again. One rainy Tuesday, after spending 10 hours on a sample edit for a potential client, the feedback arrived. "Thanks, but this is garbage. My 12-year-old brother edits better." Alex read the email, his eyes burning. He slammed his fist on the desk, the pain shooting up his arm. "It's not working," he screamed to the empty room. "I'm just a kid. I'm stupid." He stood up and looked at the paper on the wall. "Retire, Mom." He imagined the eviction notice. He wiped his face. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. "Okay," he whispered. It was garbage. Why? He didn't quit. He analyzed. He spent the next 48 hours re-editing that same video, not for the client, but for himself, mastering the pacing and the sound design until it was perfect. Month 5 arrived. Alex was scrolling through Twitter when he saw a business coach named Coach Mike complaining about not having time to turn his podcasts into TikToks. He didn't ask for permission. He downloaded Mike's podcast, spent 4 hours cutting a perfect 30-second clip, added dynamic captions, sound effects, and a hook. He posted it and tagged Mike. "Hey, at Coach Mike, I made this for you. Use it if you want. Free." He went to sleep. The next morning, his phone blew up. Mike had retweeted it. A DM was waiting. "Hey, Alex, that clip got me 5,000 views in an hour. Can you make me 10 of these a month? I'll pay you $500.
$500. To a millionaire, it was pennies. To Alex, it was a fortune. His hands shook as he typed back, "Let's do it." That first $500 broke the dam. Coach Mike referred him to a real estate agent, who referred him to a fitness influencer. Alex raised his prices. $500 became $1,000. $1,000 became $2,000 a month. He was editing during lunch breaks at school, editing on the bus, editing until his eyes blurred. But he wasn't tired. He was hungry.
It was prom season. Northwood High was buzzing with talk of tuxedos, limos, and after-parties. Jessica, a girl Alex had had a crush on since ninth grade, approached him at his locker. "Hey, Alex," she smiled. She noticed the change in him. His jawline was sharper, his posture confident. "Are you going to prom?" Alex looked at her, then at the group of laughing friends behind her. It was tempting. One night of fun. One night to be a normal teenager. But that same night, he had a deadline for a major client, a $3,000 contract that could change everything. "I can't," Alex said softly. "I have work." Jessica laughed, confused. "Work? Come on, Alex, you're 17. Live a little." "I am living," he said, and he meant it. He went home that night and saw the Instagram stories of the prom, the lights, the music, the smiles. He felt a pang of loneliness, the sharp sting of missing out. But then he opened his banking app. Balance, $6,450. He closed Instagram and opened his editing software. He wasn't sacrificing his fun. He was sacrificing his mediocrity. Month 11 arrived. It was a Sunday morning. Alex walked into the kitchen where his mom was staring at the bills again, a familiar worry etched into her forehead. "Mom," Alex said. "Hey, honey," she replied absently. "Is there any cereal left?" "Mom, sit down." She looked up, startled by the authority in his voice. "What? Did you get in trouble?" Alex pulled out his phone and placed a physical check on the table. It was for $12,000. "What is this?" she asked, bewildered. "I've been saving," Alex said, his voice trembling slightly. "I've been working online, editing videos. This pays off the rest of the car, and the credit card debt, and the next 3 months of mortgage." She stared at the check, then at Alex. The silence stretched for 10 seconds. Then she covered her mouth, and tears welled up instantly. Not tears of despair, but of absolute shock and relief. "Alex, how?" "I told you I'd handle it," he said, walking over to hug her. She buried her face in his chest, feeling his strong shoulders. He wasn't a boy anymore. He was a man who had protected his family. That moment was better than any video game victory. It was the feeling of purpose. Exactly 365 days after he stared at the black screen, Alex stood in front of the mirror again. The transformation was total. His physique was lean and athletic. He could run 5 miles without stopping. His mind was sharp, disciplined by books like Atomic Habits and Can't Hurt Me. His bank account was generating $5,000 a month consistently. He wasn't going to college he couldn't afford to get a degree he didn't want. He was building a media agency. He picked up his camera and turned it on to record his first YouTube video, ready to teach others. "Hey guys," he said to the lens, his voice steady and deep. "My name is Alex. 1 year ago, I was a loser. I was failing school. I was addicted to games. I hated myself. Today, everything is different." He realized then that life doesn't change by accident. It changes by choice. You are always one decision away from a completely different life, but you have to be willing to let the old version of you die. It will hurt. You will be lonely. You will doubt yourself. But on the other side of that pain is the person you were meant to be. Alex looked out the window at the rising sun, grabbed his bag, and walked out the door. He had work to do.